Hey guys, thanks for listening and welcome to our first episode of the Dorm Debate Podcast. I'm John, and alongside of me are my roommates Jared and Jonathan. We all go to a college in New York, and I'm an engineering major. And now I'll turn it over to Jared and Jonathan to introduce themselves.
What's up, guys? My name is Jared. I'm a new media marketing major here at a college in New York. We basically want to start this podcast because we're all roommates, and as John said, and we basically spend more time talking about the NFL than we do like actually doing homework. Would you guys agree?
For sure, yeah.
Honestly, like we stay up to like 3-4 in the morning debating about NFL stats. So I'm gonna turn it over to Jonathan right now.
Hello everyone, my name is Jonathan and I'm a business major here at a college in New York. Now let's get on with the show.
Ooh.
All right, so our first debate question is, should the Denver Broncos bench Trevor Siemian? Jared, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, let me start this off. So I don't know if you guys remember last week, the Chargers beat the Broncos.
Yeah.
They actually shut them out.
They did.
Yeah.
They did shut them out.
Just wanted to let you guys know that. So let's talk about the first. I have a list of stats here. Just really emphasize the Broncos. 14 games played. Trevor Siemian, their starting quarterback.
Right.
10 interceptions and 3 fumbles. Now, that was in 2016.
That was last year.
Right.
Okay.
10 interceptions, 3 fumbles, 14 games. Right? He's played 6 games this year. 7 interceptions. He had 10 last year total. And he has more fumbles. He has 4 fumbles in 2017. He had 3 in 2016. So you ask yourself, why is that? Did he get tremendously bad? Did he just drop off the face of the earth? So now I'm thinking, what about their line, their offensive line? Did it change a little bit? Their offensive line has given up 22 sacks. Right, that's third most in the NFL. It's pretty surprising. Number 1 is the Indianapolis Colts. And if you remember, Andrew Luck is injured because they have such a bad offensive line. And Andrew Luck's a good quarterback, but you have I would say Andrew Luck's maybe top 10.
I would say he's on the fringe of top 10, yeah.
When he's not injured,
yeah.
Right? And even he can't put out the stats that he should be putting out because his line is so bad. You have a bad offensive line, that changes everything. You can't blame that all on the quarterback. Then you have number 3, who's tied for Siemian, Carson Palmer. Carson Palmer just got injured because their offensive line let up too many sacks. And Cam Newton, last year, he had a problem with the offensive line. He got sacked so many times, he had 2 concussions. So now you think, okay, Trevor Siemian, I don't think it's his fault. They need to step up their offensive line. You think if they're going to make the playoffs, you need rushing yards, right? You need rushing yards?
Right.
Rushing attempts in 2016 was 28 for Siemian, 28 rushing yards. 28 rushing attempts. Now in 2017, he has 21 rushing attempts. That's through 6 games.
And you think that's because the offensive line is
right.
as good? And
so there's so much pressure that he has to start running.
Okay, but do you think they should bench him, though?
Do you think they should bring in another option?
All right. I'll get to the point here. I looked up their offensive line. It's 7th worst in the NFL. This year. So my conclusion, don't bench Siemian or go out and buy another quarterback. How about you get better linemen from either free agency or from trades, because it's pretty obvious that your line is the one that's given up the most sacks. Siemian, the reason he's playing bad is because of the line. You have so much pressure. 22 sacks, that's ridiculous. And I know Indianapolis isn't going to make the playoffs, and they're number 1 in sacks let up. So don't bench Siemian. Acquire a new offensive line. That's my final thoughts.
All right, I hear that, but I wouldn't attribute it all to the offensive line. Since week 15 of last year, Siemian has 10 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. So he has good and bad games. In his career, he has 3+ touchdown games. 2 of them were 4 touchdown games. So he has he has been on or off. He has games where they score 0 points last week against the Chargers, 3 against the Giants, who are 1-6. And they better fix this. All I'm saying, they better fix this soon because their next 3 games are at Kansas City, at Philadelphia, and home against New England. Those are 3 very tough games, and they've got to do something, whether they bench Simeon and put in Osweiler or keep Simeon in.
So what do you think they should do then?
I would bring in Osweiler, and here's why. In 2015, when Osweiler started 8 games for the Broncos, he was 5-3, 10 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Osweiler in those 6 games had an 86.4 passer rating, and Simeon, since week 15 of last year, has an 80.1 passer rating. This Broncos team plays better under Brock Osweiler as their leader at quarterback. Denver will not make the playoffs unless they put Osweiler in at quarterback.
Wait, but he went to the Texans.
He did go to the Texans.
And why didn't he do good there? Weapons? They didn't have weapons?
They had Will Fuller was injured. All they had was DeAndre Hopkins to throw to. They had not as good of an offensive line. The coach wasn't calling the right plays, weren't putting him in positions to do well.
So you think Osweiler was bad going to the Texans and the Browns because it's the Browns and it's the Texans?
Yeah.
They're just really bad.
He knows the system at Denver. He's been there. He was there before he went to the Texans, and he started 8 games. And that's why the Texans gave him so much money, because he did so well with the Broncos.
But how come Deshaun Watson's doing so good this year?
He's on a totally different level than Osweiler. You can't just say that he's like on the same level.
So would you say the Broncos had Deshaun Watson? Would you start Watson over Simeon?
For sure, yeah.
Really?
Watson's just a better quarterback in general.
I definitely agree with Jared. I think the problem is not regarding the quarterback. The problem is the offensive line. Trevor Simeon, he's not the problem. He has the above average quarterback rating in his career, 83.9. If you look at Osweiler's career, it's much lower than that. His is 79.2. You have to look at the whole career, not just when he was on the Broncos. I mean, he had many opportunities. The Texans, the Browns, I mean, it can't just be the one team.
The Browns, when they only won a couple games, you're going to say that you have to bring in those stats to mean a lot? It doesn't. It means a little bit, but...
I mean, what about the Texans? It's not the problem. The team's not the problem. The problem is the quarterback.
Brock Osweiler won a playoff game with the Texans.
Yeah, but that was 2 years.
2 years ago.
That was last year with the Texans against Matt McGloin and the Raiders.
Okay. Matt McGloin and an injured Raiders team.
Yeah. So, I think Trevor Simeon. I think we should give him some time. I think he's going to start panning out as the season goes along. I don't think they should bench him. That would be a horrible mistake if they bench him.
All right, so that's enough on Simeon. Let's move on to our next debate question, and it is, will the Oakland Raiders make the playoffs? Who wants to start us off? Jonathan?
You want me to start or you?
Well, I think, of course they can make the playoffs. Derek Carr.
Really?
Derek Carr is
it's not what you were saying 2 weeks ago.
Well, no, Derek Carr is about to play his 3rd game of the year. He's been injured. He's about to play his 3rd game of the year. I mean, they've been off to a kind of shaky start, 3-4. But with Derek Carr back and with a big momentum after going against a really good Kansas City team, I think they can do some great things this year.
Can I tell the listeners something? About 2 weeks ago, or maybe 3 weeks ago, I think Jonathan, what game was it with Oakland? Did they just...
When they lost to the Redskins in a primetime game.
Right.
Without Derek Carr.
No, they were there. They were there. He played that. They didn't play well.
So,
he played, but he didn't play well.
So Oakland plays the Redskins and loses, right? And at the end of the game, Jonathan goes, Oakland's not making the playoffs.
This is the 3rd game of the
season. 3rd game of the season.
4th game of the season.
Makes a bold statement like that, puts it out on the line. Oakland's not making the playoffs. So John and I were baffled, flabbergasted by this.
So back then you thought they were going to make the playoffs. Now you think they won't, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So you turn on your word too.
Oh.
But here's the one problem is Carr got hurt. So
now that he's back healthy and they just beat the Chiefs, what do you think?
Yeah.
Do you think they'll make the playoffs?
Yeah, after they beat the Chiefs, that was a big win. That's a really good Kansas City.
Okay, it was a lucky.
Really good
it was a
City
lucky
team.
win because it was a Thursday night game, so there was not a lot of rest for the Chiefs. And first of all, whenever is there gonna be? What they were on the goal line and they had like 9 chances. With
they did have a couple.
They literally
calls.
missed like 4 times, and they got fouls or penalties on all 4 of those. That was just lucky, and they wanted to give it to
But still, the Patriots got demolished by them. So even for them to be that close, that's a really good Oakland Raiders team.
That's gonna start some momentum for them.
But oh, sorry, I didn't know I didn't mean to cut you off.
What I was gonna say is that the Raiders are 3-4. They just beat the Chiefs. Mm-hmm. Listen to this.
Yeah.
In the last 9 games of the season in 2016 that Carr played, the Raiders went 8-1. How many games are there left this year? 9. Wow. They can go 8-1 again.
Definitely.
6 of those 9 games, they scored 30 points or more. Carr had 16 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. This Carr is if there's a quarterback that could turn their season around, I think it's Derek Carr.
But we're looking at Derek Carr from last year's MVP year, or so-called MVP year.
Yeah.
I did air quotes. They can't see that, but I did air quotes. Last year he had a total of 6 interceptions, total through all those games, and now this year he has 4 already through 6 games. He didn't even play 2 of the games, and he's got 4 already. So he's obviously, I put that on the rushing offense. It's 10th worst in the NFL.
Well, they got rid of Latavius Murray and they brought in Marshawn Lynch.
Right, who hasn't done anything.
Hasn't been playing well.
So let me tell you this: they've had no one rush for over 76 yards, and they've had, before the Chiefs game, they've had no wide receiver who's gone over 83 yards, and that was both of those were in the first game of the season against Tennessee.
And this is why the Oakland Raiders will turn it around. They had Amari Cooper. They got Amari Cooper back. They haven't been consistent.
Back one game is back.
One
over 200 yards
and 2. This is the best receiving game by a wide receiver this year.
And it's against the Chiefs.
His highest was 83 yards before. I don't even think that was him. I think that was Crabtree that had 83 yards. Yeah, it was
probably Crabtree.
So one game, and it was a very lucky game where Thursday night games are always up in the air.
All I'm saying is they have a good opportunity. They're just 3-4. Chargers are also 3-4. Broncos are 3-3. The Chiefs are the only people separating themselves in that division, and they're on a 2-game losing streak. So I definitely think the Oakland Raiders are ready.
For sure.
I don't think the Chiefs will lose. Let's see, they're 5-2 right now.
Yeah.
So I haven't looked at their next games. I don't know if you guys have or not. But I don't think they could fall off after going 5-0.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that they're going to win the division, but I think they could get a wild card spot for sure.
Okay, but so for me, I have the Chargers second.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Reason being, they're on a 3-game win streak. Plus, their defense is finally catching up with their offense. We shut out the Broncos, and we only let up 16 against Oakland.
But how much has the offense scored all season? So every game they haven't went past 27 points.
Okay.
The offense can't score that much.
But our defense is finally keeping up. So we beat Oakland when they scored 16. So we hold them to under 16, if that, and we win.
So they only won 17-16.
17-16.
So it could have went either way.
Could have went either way, but we
just
found
like
a way
this
to
division
win.
Can go either way.
And guess what? Last year, the last 5 years for the Chargers, we've literally lost close games. I would say 7 out of their 10 losses.
Yeah, if they could win close games, they could do
right.
Very
and
well.
This year they've done that. They've done that twice.
But listen to this: Carr has 14 game time or go ahead touchdown passes since 2015.
That's a lot.
No other quarterback has even 10.
Wow.
If somebody can turn this season around for them, it's him. And it's going to start. They get at Buffalo and at Miami and then a bye. If they could win
those are 2 losses.
If they could win those 2 games with Matt Moore as in quarterback for Miami, Cutler's questionable.
I'll tell you this right now though. Chargers have at New England this week.
Mm-hmm. That's a tough game.
Now Oakland has at Bills and at Dolphins.
Yeah.
So I would say these next 2 weeks they're gonna show who's gonna emerge.
Sure. Oh yeah.
1,000%.
All right, so that's good on
Wait,
the Raiders.
wait. Let's go around. Who are you guys both? Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm
of
yes for
course.
the Raiders.
Of course.
Yes for the Raiders.
I'm a no. They need to improve their rushing offense if they can do anything.
I can't
All
wait
right.
till this weekend.
All
We'll
right.
see.
So the next question we have on our list is: will the Dallas Cowboys make the playoffs? Jonathan, you got to start us off on this one.
Of course they'll make the playoffs.
Of course, he says.
The 2 losses they've had were 5 points or less. They're heartbreakers. Aaron Rodgers, that Packers game.
You gotta win
Those poor time management.
You got to win the close ones. Huh?
You gotta win the close ones.
Yeah.
If you want to win.
I mean, there's been a lot of distractions in the beginning with the Ezekiel Elliott case. And as the time is going along, we're becoming more accustomed.
All I'm hearing
I mean,
is
hold on.
excuses.
Well, as time goes along, you're getting more used to it. But the hearing is on Monday, October 30th. So
Elliott's going to frickin' jail.
Elliott plays this week against Washington, and then the hearing is on Monday. That's going to be a big. I think that's going to be big for the rest of the season.
So you think Ezekiel Elliott leaving is going to be big for the rest of the season?
Yes.
1,000%.
Can I mention somebody that you guys have been sleeping on?
Yeah, please.
Alfred Morris. This guy rushed 3 straight seasons over 1,000 yards.
How
on
many years
Redskins.
ago was that?
Yeah, how
That
many?
was his
like 2
rookie
years.
year.
No, that was like 2 years ago.
Can you pull up stats on right now though?
Yeah.
For the Cowboys, what's his most rushing yards?
Oh, have you forgotten? Against the Rams, he had 2 carries for 76 yards.
One
That's
of them,
38.
One of them was a 75-yard run against the Rams, who have the first or second worst run defense in the league.
They're on top of their division, so yeah.
Ezekiel Elliott had 2 touchdowns in that game. He was doing too well. They had to put Morris in.
Morris has barely got any snaps. He's only got 10 snaps on the Cowboys, and he's done really good on those 10 snaps. So when Zeke goes, I think we're in for something special. As long as we have a decent running
Does he
back.
have any touchdowns?
Alfred Morris? No.
He doesn't have any touchdowns.
No touchdowns.
But is that because he doesn't get enough carries?
Yeah,
right?
he doesn't get enough carries, and they put Zeke in to get.
So you're saying if they give Morris the volume, he'll produce.
Exactly.
The only thing is, there's a difference when defense is there, and Dak Prescott goes for the play action with him, or they go with Alfred Morris. There's a big difference. Whether the safeties are going to step up if it's Alfred Morris, they'll probably step back. It's
good because Alfred Morris has potential. He's like that. This guy.
He does. He was
potential.
Good.
That's a big word. Potential.
He has potential. He has potential to be great. On the Cowboys.
Okay.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
He's late in his career.
He's barely had any time to
That's
do his thing.
ridiculous. Alfred Morris.
Yes. You'll see it. So when Zeke goes, I'm not worried. As long as you have a decent running back that can run behind that powerful offensive line that we have, with Dak as quarterback, I think we're in for good running this year. We'll definitely make the playoffs.
Listen to this. 6 teams make the playoffs in the NFC.
Right.
7 of them have a better record than the Cowboys right now.
And those are like 1 or 2 games.
Yeah,
you know.
1 or 2 games.
Cowboys are, I believe, 3-3.
Yeah.
But the Lions are 3-3. The Falcons, they went to the Super Bowl last year. They're 3-3.
So those are 2 good teams.
Oakland Raiders are 3-4.
Yeah, but Falcons
Oakland
were
Raiders
way better
are in the
last
AFC.
year.
But those are 2 good teams.
I'm saying the record. What I'm trying to say is the record doesn't matter at this point. The record doesn't matter at this point. I think, that, like I said, we were talking about before. Oakland Raiders are 3-4. I believe they can still make the playoffs.
All right. So the record doesn't matter right now. But let's just look at their upcoming games for the rest of the year. They have to. All right. Last year, the NFC wild card. Let's say the Eagles win the division because they're 6-1. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
The wild cards last year in the NFC, the Giants were 11-5 and the Lions were 9-7. So that means at the absolute worst, Cowboys have to win 6 of their last 10. Now the rest of the year, they play 9 more games. Right. Only 3 of them, 3 of the teams they play the rest of the year have losing records right now.
Okay.
That's not easy.
Can I brighten you or enlighten you, if you will?
Brighten you.
Well. The Eagles are 6-1, right?
Yeah.
Well, can I tell you guys something?
Yeah.
They've only played 1 of their 6 hardest games of the season, and that was to the Kansas City Chiefs, which they lost. So the next 5 hardest are coming, and 2 of them are going to be the Cowboys. 2 of the hardest weeks are going to be against the Cowboys.
I mean, if you look at the Cowboys, they should be killing the teams that they lost to.
Well, I just talked about the Eagles, though. How come you don't have anything to say against that?
The Eagles?
Yeah. They haven't played 5 of the hardest games yet.
Pull up a schedule because I don't have their Eagles schedule, but I guarantee you they have better quality wins than Cowboys.
The Eagles play San Francisco next week.
Win.
Yeah. Then they're at home against Denver.
Win.
Then they get a bye.
Win.
They have the third easiest schedule.
That's you said the Eagles, right?
That's the Eagles.
Okay, well, can I tell you something? Week 17, Cowboys. Week 11, Cowboys. Week 9, the number 1 defense last year, Denver Broncos.
You want to hear what the Broncos scored last week?
Week 16, Oakland Raiders.
That's tough.
Week 2, they already played the Kansas City Chiefs.
They get the Seahawks.
And then week 13, Seahawks. They still have a lot to go. They're 6-1. What if they lose all 5? 6-6. How about that? What if the Cowboys win?
5 straight games they lose in a row?
Not straight games.
The way they're playing
Those are
right
the
now.
hardest games of their
The way
season.
they're playing now.
You're naming teams that are worse than them.
Who's worse than them?
They all have
Raiders.
worse records. The Eagles
Raiders,
have the best
Broncos.
records.
The Broncos had the number 1 defense last year.
Last year, this year they're horrible. They gave up freaking 28 to the Chargers.
Well, they shut off a good Cowboys team, Dak Prescott, to 17 points.
They're not good.
Do you have anything to say, Jared, about the Cowboys?
Yeah, I just got one very important stat to show you. So, you say Alfred Morris is gonna replace Elliott, but no one can replace Elliott.
No one can replace Elliott. But what I'm saying is, as long as we have a decent enough running back with the great offensive line and Dak Prescott,
Alfred Morris is considered decent.
Having maybe like 80 yards a game or something to keep the pressure off of Dak, that's good enough. Having about average running back with a good offensive line. Offensive line is really good.
Okay, so
Zeke takes a lot of credit, but our offensive lines are really good.
All right.
Having a good offensive line and Dak.
All right. So let's say he averages 80 yards, Alfred Morris, when he comes in.
Yeah.
Let's say he has a 50-yard game. That's going to put more pressure on Dak.
And Dak is ready for it.
False. This year, he has not proven to me that he can win a game by himself at all.
Oh, really?
Oh, really? Yeah. Let me tell you something. I got a very important stat on this piece of paper right here.
Please enlighten us.
I'll enlighten you. I'll enbrighten you.
Brightness.
Dak has how many interceptions? 4?
4.
4
interceptions.
Uh-huh.
How many games did they lose? 3.
They've lost 3.
Right.
Correct.
2 heartbreakers.
Hold on.
Okay. So we had 2 in one game.
Right.
And then you had 1 in the other 2.
Uh-huh.
Right. So it's 3 losses.
Right.
They lost every game that Dak threw an interception. And Elliott had no more than 100 yards rushing. So he was forced to win the game by himself. The game was in his hands. Elliott's not doing good. You got to step up as quarterback.
So you're saying he did bad?
When the pressure is on him, when the pressure is on him,
they lost they lost to the Rams, and his quarterback rating was 93.8. And you think that's playing bad? How much harder can you
the
get an
Rams have
interception?
one of the worst defenses against the Broncos. Against the Broncos, Ezekiel Elliott had 8 yards rushing, 9 carries for 8 yards. Dak Prescott had to put the team on his back and go for it.
Wait. This year,
the team on back. It was bad. The offensive line was playing bad. The quarterback or the running back couldn't perform well. That was the problem in that game. The Broncos have a good defensive line.
It wasn't the defense. They gave up 42 points.
My question right now is...
It was both.
My question right now is, if Elliott gets shut down, I mean, this should be the tactic for any NFL team facing the Cowboys.
Right.
Shut down Elliott and you win.
Yeah.
Because that's the stats this year.
You're going to get at least one interception. You're going to get at least one interception.
If you put the game in Dak's hands, he's going to throw an interception. He's not as good because the defense, I guarantee you.
Well, okay. Can I say another stat? The Dallas lost to the Packers, right?
Yeah.
Dak's quarterback rating was 105.2. I mean, how? What do you want him to do?
No, because Elliott had 147 rushing yards and a touchdown. Because Ezekiel Elliott was playing so well, it opened up passing lanes for Dak. The linebackers moved up. The safeties had to drop back, and it left open in the middle of the field.
All right. Well, the Cowboys lost that game. So he said the games that the Cowboys lost.
All right.
Dak didn't step up. He did step up.
Yeah.
No, he's not.
But they didn't lose against the
they lost against the Packers. That was a heartbreaker, just like the playoffs.
He didn't step up.
Name a game where he stepped up.
He had a quarterback rating of 105.2.
But they lost.
How much?
So he didn't do enough.
Trevor Simeon's quarterback rating hasn't even reached 90, And you're talking about Dak.
I think Dak's much better than Simeon.
Yeah.
We're not taking anything away from him.
Yeah.
We're just saying when they lose, he hasn't been able to do enough. Yes, his quarterback rating was great.
Points.
Yes, that's great. But
you need to win
later in the year, in December. Are you going to be
our defense is
later
right
in the year?
No.
Later in the year, are you going to be like, oh, Dak did enough? You need that one. That one win could be a big difference.
Yeah, but it's not Dak's fault. It's the defense's fault.
You can't say that, though.
Against the Rams, we let up 35 points against the Rams. I mean,
as a great quarterback.
And the Broncos, Trevor Simeon, 42 points. It's our defense. It's not our offense. The offense can only do so much. We scored a lot of points this year. The offense has already scored a lot of points this year. It's the defense. The defense is the reason why we're losing. Dak Prescott's quarterback rating is really high.
You're saying, you told me yesterday, or 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Settle down, John. That Dak's going to be the next. He's on pace to be the next Tom Brady, or even better than Tom Brady, right?
Well, so far in his career, yes.
Okay.
Last year, 104.2 average for his quarterback rating for the whole year last year. This year so far, it's a little lower, 98.2, but as the season goes on, he's going to play harder.
So, Tom Brady has won 5 Super Bowls. I guarantee you...
The team has won 5 Super Bowls, yes.
No, I guarantee you that any of those defenses, maybe one, was even top 10. I guarantee you that.
Any of the defenses Tom Brady was on?
You're right, yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You know how much great players have run through their defense?
Oh, you can have great players and have a bad defense.
They didn't have a bad defense. The Patriots have been known for the good defense. Are you kidding me? What's up, boy?
What? What the hell? So wait a minute. So you're telling me last year when they beat the Falcons, they had a good defense?
Well, to stop the Falcons, you gotta have a good defense. The Falcons have...
They let up 28
points in the first half.
But they shut them down the second half.
Okay. So
yeah.
You still let
That's a great
defense.
Momentum.
And
that's a great
Tom
defense.
Brady let him back. Your defense doesn't score 28 points by himself.
He couldn't have let him back without a great defense. If the defense hadn't stopped him, they would have kept on scoring and scoring.
Yeah,
All his great defense. Tom Brady.
But as a quarterback, what happened? Oh shit, we got another freaking thing. As a quarterback, you have to lead your team to a win.
Yeah.
Every single time.
But you can only do so much. With a high quarterback rating, what else do you want to do?
You have to get it done.
What do you have to get it done?
Derek Carr, the defense of the Raiders gave up 30 points to the Chiefs.
Right.
Derek Carr fought that whole game.
That's a different scenario. That's a different scenario.
Okay.
The quarterback it's not always in the quarterback's hands. You can only do so much.
So you think
you
think the Cowboys are going to make the playoffs?
I do.
What do you think they have to do to make the playoffs?
Fix their defense.
That's it.
That's it.
And
That's it.
So if they fix their defense, no matter what happens with Elliott, they're going to make the playoffs?
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay. I am saying that it's going to come down to Monday's decision. I think if they don't have Elliott, they're not going to make the playoffs.
We don't need Elliott. We have a good offensive line. With a good offensive line in the NFL,
your stats doesn't
you can
show
put
it.
any average running back there.
Stats don't show it. All right, my final verdict.
Alfred Ward hasn't got that much carries.
I'm gonna punch you in the face.
Alfred Ward hasn't got that much carries. You'll see.
Final verdict for me. I got a contract that's on the fridge right now in our apartment. It says that I, Jared, say that the Dallas Cowboys will not make the playoffs, including wild card. So my decision is Cowboys just aren't good enough this year. I hate to break it to you, they're just not good this year. And
all right,
I'm gonna have to go with no.
All right, so that's it for the Cowboys.
We'll see.
And that was heated. I like that one.
And on to our last question for debating is, can the Packers make the playoffs with Brett Hundley, or should they explore other options? Jonathan, you got anything on this?
Well, so far I like to say I've seen Brett Hundley play, and he's been
he's not good enough to know his name.
Yeah, Brett Hundley. Sorry, All right, I've seen him play, and the guy is just really bad. He's not that good.
I agree with you.
His quarterback rating is really low. It's like average for his career, 40.5 so far this year, and that's crazy. I mean, the last 2 games they didn't even reach 40 for his quarterback rating. So first of all, I think Brett Hundley is terrible, and they need to make a decision fast before it's too late.
All right.
I have a proposition though.
They follow your seatbelts, folks.
Get ready for this.
Yeah.
The Packers need to get Tony Romo, and here's why.
Please,
Tony Romo, his average quarterback rating through his whole career is 97.1, and the game he got hurt, his quarterback rating was 134.4. Tony Romo's quarterback rating has been above 80 ever since he's been in this league. The Packers need to get Tony Romo just for a year. They need to sign him for at least for a year. And let the Packers make the playoffs. And then once the Packers make the playoffs, hopefully Aaron Rodgers will be well. And maybe he can take over.
Yeah, because Romo won't win a playoff game, that's for sure.
Well, I mean...
He's 2-4 in the playoffs.
Well, all he needs to do is take him to the playoffs. And Aaron Rodgers, hopefully he'll be healed and he can take it off from there. But they need Tony Romo for at least a year.
Wait, you're replacing an injured quarterback with an injury-prone quarterback. Why would they spend money on...
Injury-prone? What do you mean by injury-prone?
Meaning he's gotten injured like every freaking snap.
All right, no. Well, he's played 15 games. I mean, when he first came to the league, 2006, he first started. He played 16 games. The next season, 16. Next season, 13. Next season, 16. That one season, 2010, 6 games. Then the next season, back to 16. Next game, back to 16. Next game, back to 15. 15. 4 for the next season, then 1. Those are the past 2 seasons he played in his career.
That's a good point.
But not every snap he gets injured.
How old is he?
He's about 35, and
what's
Brett Favre retired around 40, I believe.
So he's been broadcasting. I don't think he's been training at all. He's been eating nachos in the booth.
Brett Favre, he was eating nachos in the booth, and then he decided to join the Minnesota Vikings, and he did pretty good with them.
What? No, not at all.
He was around 40 years old.
He wasn't
a
broadcaster.
He was eating nachos.
He was retired. And
he was retired. Who said he was out of shape though?
Who says Tony Romo's out of shape?
Look at his last 2 years. He can't even play without freaking laying on the ground for 20 minutes.
That was
after
just the
a
last
sack.
2 years out of like a 9-year career, and his quarterback rating is a 97.1.
Well, yeah, but
that's the only option
he
they have
was
now.
younger. You're talking about when he was
So
younger.
who would you rather take, a 97.1 rating with a history of good quarterback rating, or Brett Hundley,
He's not
who hasn't
the
even
same.
reached 40 for his quarterback rating in the past 2 games?
He's not the same though.
Okay.
It's not the same.
He's much older.
So you'd rather
And he
have Brett
can't
Hundley
play.
for the year than Tony Romo. Sign him just for a year and seal the playoffs
That's a
and let Aaron
waste.
Rodgers play.
That's a
That's not a
waste.
waste. That's smart. If you want to make the playoffs,
No,
that's the smartest thing to do.
You're gonna make the
They don't have a
playoffs
choice.
and lose in the first round. It's not gonna matter.
Aaron Rodgers is gonna take over. You think Aaron Rodgers is gonna lose in the playoffs?
You're gonna bet that he's gonna come back.
Oh, they're gonna.
Why wouldn't you grow Hundley and then
Grow Huntley? This is just terrible. He's not a starting quarterback. He's like a backup quarterback. He can't play.
He has no
The kid
experience.
can't play.
He has no experience.
Trevor Siemian, his quarterback rating was never that low when he first started. His quarterback rating was never that low.
He's had 2 starts.
I think it's just terrible.
I
I don't think there's any recovering from this.
Let me bring in some stats.
I mean, his quarterback rating hasn't
Give
really
him a
reached
chance.
20.
Hold on. Let me bring in some stats
That's
about
ridiculous. It's
Hundley.
sad.
Yes, Hundley's not playing well. 2 games this year for Hundley, 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and 2 fumbles.
With a quarterback rating that didn't even go over 40.
40.5 his quarterback.
Yeah.
51.3 completion percentage.
Mm-hmm.
However, I don't think the option is Romo. Listen to this. Dak Prescott has been sacked 7 times, which is 31st in the league. 31st in the league. Simeon was sacked 21 times in the league. If Romo again behind the offensive line of the Cowboys, who you say is dominant offensive line,
Dominant.
if he can't stand back behind the Broncos offensive line, he cannot stand back against the Packers offensive line. The Packers offensive line has given up is in the bottom half of the league, and that's with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, who can scramble, and Romo cannot scramble. He got hurt behind the Cowboys line. That's very good, only giving up 7 sacks this year. He cannot stand behind the Packers line for too long. And you don't want to bring in him and then have Hundley just come off the bench.
Yeah, let me tell you something, because I got a list of all of Tony Romo's injuries. This man's made of glass. 2008, broken right pinky finger, missed 3 games.
He played 13 games, though.
2010, broken left collarbone.
All right, he played 6 games. All right.
2013, ruptured disc.
15 games he played in that season? Okay.
He missed a winner-take-all in Week 17. The Packers cannot afford for him to even miss 2 weeks,
That's why you sign him for just 1 season. 1 season. The rest of the season, that's all you have to sign him for until the playoffs. Then Aaron Rodgers will take over.
Look at this.
He's the best bet you've got. You can't. If you want to make the playoffs, if you're the Packers and you want to make the playoffs, it would not be smart to keep Brett Hundley in there. The guy's terrible. He can't play.
The last 3 years, 2013, 2014, 2015. 2013, ruptured disc. 2014,
96.7 passer rating. Okay.
2 fractures. 2014 says 2 fractures.
15 games he played.
2015, broken left collarbone. Then he broke it again in his second game back. And then in 2016, he had a compression fracture in his vertebrae. So his last 4 seasons in the league, he got injured.
But
okay, if Tony Romo, after all those injuries, last year, if you remember at the end of the offseason, after the Super Bowl, in the offseason, a lot of people were talking about Tony Romo going to the Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
If Tony Romo wanted to make a comeback, he would have went to the Denver Broncos. He's done with football.
But it would be great to go to your home city, Wisconsin. What better part is that? That's a great thing, to go back to your hometown city and help him get to the playoffs and let Aaron Rodgers take over. That would be a beautiful way to end your career. He hasn't really ended his career. He got after that injury. He's been waiting, and nothing happened until he went to broadcast.
The man's injury prone, going into the coldest city in the United States. Like, are you kidding me?
All right.
Your body doesn't adjust to that.
He went to Eastern Illinois. That was his college. I mean, I assume he played quarterback in there.
If I came up to the Pack, like, what makes you think the Packers would accept him or even give him any money?
Because
why would you give a person money where he's gotten injured the last 4 seasons of his career, and he's sitting in a booth right now eating hot dogs and nachos?
I'll tell you why. Because he's played 14 seasons, and his average quarterback rating is 97.1 as opposed to Brett Hundley.
Oh, that's history, though.
Whose quarterback rating is only 40.5, and which is completely terrible.
He does have
and awful.
more experience. That was
when he was in his prime. Now he's dropping. There's no way he's gonna come back to his prime.
His game that he got injured in 2016. That was his last game he's played. Okay. His quarterback rating was 134.4. So I don't think he's dropping.
Give me his interceptions.
His interceptions?
In the last 4 years, I want to.
Or last 14 seasons, or
the last four. Last 4 years. The ones where he got injured.
Okay. 2015, 7 interceptions.
Okay, how many games did he play?
4. 2014.
4 games, 7 interceptions.
Listen to this.
Okay.
2014, 9 interceptions.
9 interceptions.
15 games played.
Okay, but they didn't make the playoffs.
Next season, 2013, 10 interceptions.
10 interceptions.
15 games played.
Didn't make the playoffs.
All right. Listen, making the playoffs, that's about the team.
This man doesn't even know how to make the playoffs.
Our defense has been bad since
6 times in 14 seasons.
Our defense has been bad for a long time. His offense is really good. Tony Romo is really good.
Packers' defense is horrible. They're 22nd in the league.
Well, you don't got a choice now. You want to go with the terrible Brett Hundley or go with the dominant Tony Romo?
You have to throw away this season. You have to.
No.
You have to.
No.
This is about improvement for your backup quarterback. For when Rodgers is hurt again, or when he ends up leaving.
Why can't they draft a quarterback in the upcoming draft?
But the question is, can the Packers make playoffs with Hundley? So you think they can't make the playoffs with Hundley? That's what you're saying?
No, not
you're
at
saying
all.
you might as well throw the season away. Yeah. I think
Romo's
a better option than Hundley, but he's not the best option.
What's the best option?
The best option? Listen to this.
Don't say Kaepernick.
No.
Please don't say that. Please. I beg you, don't say that.
I will not say Colin Kaepernick. Okay. I am going to say the backup quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Who's that?
Do you know who that is?
Nick Foles.
That's Nick Foles.
Yes. I love Nick
Foles. Hold on. Stop laughing because I know you love it. 13 games he's played in 2013. Listen to this. He played 13 games in 2013. He had 27 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 8-2 record, 119.2 passer rating, which was first in the NFL, ahead of Peyton Manning, who had 55 touchdown passes that year. All right, yes, that was 2013.
And that was 1 year.
Now it's 2017.
14 seasons.
Okay, now it's 2017. 4 years, yes. But he started 2 games for Kansas City last year. Mm-hmm. He won both of those games, and he threw 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and had 110.8 passer rating. Nick Foles needs to be brought back into this league and needs to start for the Packers until Aaron Rodgers is back.
What team doesn't like winning? If he was all that good that you're saying, you're making him seem like a messiah.
He went 8-2.
If he was all that good, why don't the Eagles just put him in? Start him
because Carson Wentz is a better quarterback. He's young. They're building him in the system. Nick Foles, there's 9 games left for the Packers.
Well, Tony Romo's better than Carson Wentz.
There's 9 games left.
Wait, can you process what you just said?
Okay, well, Tony Romo's not the backup quarterback for Wentz right now, so we don't have to make that decision.
Okay. Can't even make a team.
So Nick Foles, the Packers have 9 games left. Foles played 10 games in 2013 and went 8-2. Won 8 of the 10. If he wins 6 of the 9 for the Packers, they make the playoffs.
But that's one season, as opposed to 14 seasons with a 97.
He's old. He's
How
gonna
many
get injured. He's made of glass.
Foles has never gotten injured.
Oh, he's barely been in the league.
He played
What?
10 games in 2013. He played 2 games for Kansas City last year.
So 10 games in 2013, and then 2 games for Kansas City last year. That's what you're basing all this off of.
And he has.
That's what you're basing all this off of. Come on, John.
He has 30 touchdowns and 2 interceptions in 12 career games. You cannot tell me that he doesn't. He deserves a chance at quarterback.
If you're gonna put money in this situation for the Packers, you can't just take any risk for somebody that's played 12 career games in the NFL, as opposed to 14 seasons in the NFL with a 97.6 passer rating.
You're taking a retired, injury-prone,
That has experience.
hasn't made the playoffs in the last 5 years.
That has experience
in what? Like, there's literally nothing. Ever since he got injured in 2013, no playoffs.
But the next 2 seasons later, he had 113.2 passer rating.
How many games did he play?
The playoffs, that's on the defense. It's the whole team. You can't just blame it on him. He can't take all the blame. He has better experience.
Okay, so
than
wait,
Nick Foles. Nick Foles has only
lead-
played 12 career games. 12 career games as opposed to 14 seasons. They need to put money on Tony Romo, not a 12 career game.
Okay.
Nick Foles.
Wait, but they need a quarterback that can lead them with a defense that's 22nd. Right?
How do you
NFL.
know Nick Foles can do that?
How do I know Nick Foles can do that? I'm not. That's John. But
you know?
Romo, you've seen it. He can't.
Yeah,
You've seen it.
I mean, he plays well no matter what, with the average 97.
Okay.
You need,
passer
if
Brett
rating.
Hundley
you're
can
the
do that.
Packers, you need
Brett Hundley-
wins.
Brett Hundley-
If you want to get Tony Romo just for him to play well, you need someone who can lead them with a bad defense.
So put
Romo
points
has
on the board?
proved he can't do that.
Well-
even with all his injuries, he's gonna miss a game.
Well, the problem is they want Brett Hundley to put points on the board. He's
No,
not
they
doing
don't. They want Brett Hundley to win 5 of 9 games.
But
Win half of the
winning is
games.
not just for the quarterback; it's for the whole team. If your defense sucks, then you can't win.
Okay, so the Packers' defense sucks. So how
And
come?
Brett Hundley
how come
sucks
they,
worse.
Okay,
Brett
so
Hundley's causing them to lose.
the Packers' defense sucks. So
And
how?
Brett Hundley
So how
sucks.
did Aaron Rodgers go 4-1 with that bad defense?
Because Aaron Rodgers is good.
So he's
Just
better
like
than Tony Romo.
Aaron Rodgers and
He
Tony
has
Romo
to
are
be
both
Tony.
legends.
He has to be better than Tony Romo because
Can you say the
Romo.
end of the mic?
Aaron Rodgers is really good, and Tony Romo is really good. Brett Hundley sucks. They should replace him with Tony
You
Romo.
said the L word though. You said the L word.
Tony Romo is a legend with a 97.6 passer rating over 14 seasons. Not many people can do that. 14 seasons with a 97.6 passer rating. This Brett Hundley, in the past 2 games, he hasn't even reached 40% passer rating. He hasn't reached.
Okay, so
We're getting off topic.
So, Jared, you got anything like other options for the Packers, or you
Tony Romo's the
would
best
stick
option.
with Hundley for the year?
Tony Romo's the best option.
Shut up, Jonathan. All right, my my advice to the Packers right now, maybe next year, but that's it. That's all I got.
All right, and I'm going with Nick Foles for the rest of the year. Win a couple games.
All right, he's going with Nick Foles that only has 12 career games in the NFL. I'm going with Tony Romo with a history of 14 seasons in the NFL with 97.6 passer rating. That's who I'm going with.
Okay, so now that we have agreed on all that,
How long did we just go? I feel like that was 2 hours.
all right, now it's time for our lock and upset. So in our lock and upset segment, each of us are going to pick 2 winners in the NFL this week.
2?
2 winners.
Oh,
I
only picked
Yeah, I
one.
thought it was one.
No, you pick 2 winners. You pick the lock, which is choosing a team that has a better record than their opponent, and you pick an upset, which means the team that you choose has a worse record than their opponent. So I'll start us off. In my lock, I'm going to pick Philadelphia over San Francisco. Philadelphia at home, they're going to keep rolling against a winless Niners. And my upset, I'm going to take Oakland over Buffalo. Oakland, with the worst record, is going to beat Buffalo in Buffalo, and they're going to start their season, and they're going to make the playoffs.
Dre, you can go ahead.
All right. My lock, I just looked at this. I just looked up the NFL schedule. My lock comes right off the bat. Vikings-Browns. Vikings. I mean, it's the Browns, so that's a lock, 100%. And then right below it, Chargers-Patriots. I got Chargers in an upset in Gillette Stadium. Let me tell you why, though. Chargers, 3-game winning streak right now. Mm-hmm. Defense on point. Oh, Jonathan's getting ready to roast me right now. I can tell. 3-game win streak. Defense on point. 0. They shut out the Broncos. They haven't done that. I forget the year, but it was like 1972. Broncos have never gotten shut out since 1972. The second longest. So, well, I picked the Chargers. It's going to be a blowout. It's going to be 28-10 final score. I got Chargers as my upset, and I got the Vikings in the lock.
All right. So for my first lock, I think the Bengals will easily defeat the Colts. The Colts have been struggling, and I think they're going to win in Cincinnati. That's my first lock. My second lock, I think, before I do my second lock, let me just do an upset.
We don't have a second lock.
One lock, one upset.
Oh, I can't do two?
No. You pick a lock.
I'll do another lock. I'll do another lock.
Fine,
just
do another
for
lock.
Fun.
Okay.
Another lock. Rules on the first day.
I think another lock. I think the Patriots are going to demolish the Chargers. The Chargers haven't put up more than 27 points in every game this season. The Patriots defense, they think they're not good, but they've been champions for 5 times. This past season, I think the Patriots are going to do good because better believe Tom Brady's going to put up a lot of points this weekend, and in order to combat that, the Chargers are also going to have to put up a lot of points. My upset, though, I think the Raiders are going to defeat the Bills. With the strong momentum from last week, the great win over a great Kansas City team, the Raiders are going to demolish the Bills, and I'm the first to say it, and it's going to happen.
Jonathan's a real fan favorite this week.
All right. Thanks, guys, for listening, and thanks for listening to our first episode of Dorm Debate, and we'll see you guys next week.
Wait. Should we tell them our upload schedule?
Sure.
So, I don't even know if we discussed this, but we're planning to post every podcast Fridays as long as the Thursday game doesn't suck. If the Thursday game is a good game, it's very important. Right now it's Carolina and
it's Miami
and Baltimore.
Miami and Baltimore, who gives a shit? So we're going to go with our upload schedule on Fridays. At the latest, it would be 8 p.m., but we're planning for Fridays at 6 p.m. If there's a good game on Thursday, we'll have it up by Wednesday night. That's it. First Dorm Debate podcast. How'd it go?
It went well.
It went pretty well.
Thanks for
Jonathan
listening,
got heated.
I can't wait till the Cowboys play. That's all I got to say.
Yep, okay, fine.
All right.
Adios.